Welcome to the One Zen Academy Fitness Podcast. Everything health, wellness, fitness and performance all under one roof. My name's Kieran. I've got over 15 years worth of experience within personal training, health, wellness and sports rehabilitation. For more information, go to www.onezenacademy.com. Thank you. Hi guys, and welcome to today's episode. I hope this finds you well. I'm sure it does. I'm sure you're just chilling out, preparing for autumn and all that's going to come with that. So before I introduce our guest, I want to give you a heads up about what we've got going on at the One Zen Academy. So we've just launched our online personal training program, which is called Health Performance. So I feel that there's a lot of trainers out there who are already doing like body transformations, you know, those sorts of things where they put nice pictures on Instagram and the rest of it of their ripped abs. That's not me. I'm not fat, I'm just not ripped, so I'd rather not. But what we do specialize in is health. So if you want to improve health, and weight management is a part of this, by the way, so if you want to lose weight, shed the pounds, if you want to improve cholesterol markers, blood pressure markers, your HbA1c marker, or FPG, which are measures of blood glucose. If you want to generally decrease stress, improve vitality, so when you wake up in the morning you think, fuck yeah, I love this. That's what we offer. So I'm pretty sure that sounds good. So it's a monthly subscription. If you go to onezenacademy.com, you can sign up on there for a monthly subscription. We do a proper lifestyle analysis, an analysis of you as a whole, and we give you a workout program that we update weekly. We give you a nutritional program, which we work with you. We don't just say, here's all the food that you need to eat, please do it. We actually coach you to improve your behaviors around food and your nutritional strategies with a lot of science that's backed behind it. And in a lifestyle analysis, we look at sleep, we look at kind of other factors that we can control, like stress perception. So there's like a meditation program that comes with it. We do yoga based activities and everything else, and certain protocols that we get you to do during the day. So if it sounds like something that you want to improve, so you like the idea of, do you know what, Kieran, I love and I want more energy to play with my kids, or I just want to shed some pounds and feel good, or I'm getting to that age now, maybe 40, where certain things are happening I don't want to happen, then this is probably for you. If you're 21 and you're looking to get, ripped abs, or you want to compete in a bodybuilding contest, then this is not for you, and that's the way it is. So we've also got obviously ongoing level 3 diploma in personal training accredited by the YMCA. We've got them running throughout the year, so whenever you're listening to this, they're running. And we also do the level 3 diploma in sports massage therapy. So if you want to be a massage therapist, we're the people to come to. We're also delivering the level 4 certificate in sports massage therapy, with level 5 to come soon. And we also do a diploma in teaching yoga. Yes, we do all those things at the academy. Sign up, learn, embrace, and everything will be okay. So that's enough of me. Let me introduce our guest. So it's Chris Rattenbury, who is a para athlete. And what I like about this podcast is we don't necessarily discuss all things training, we discuss all things being a para athlete. And that's what I like about it. So Chris is a similar age to myself. He currently plays wheelchair basketball for a charity called wheelpower.org.uk, so look them up. He has competed before in wheelchair racing. In his words, he's not very good. His words. And I know him for being a para athlete in bench press. So I think most notably his top bench was about 170 kilos. He competed at the 2010 Commonwealth Games in Delhi and has represented Team GB numerous times throughout his career. He's a top guy. Really interesting to kind of hear his take on someone in a wheelchair and someone who had to actually make a choice whether they were going to be in a wheelchair and all the things that come with that, and how we actually got into the sport, and how it was directed for him. So I think this is quite interesting, especially if you're a young person who has a disability. And as I say in the podcast, I don't necessarily like the word disability, so I'm going to call it different ability. So someone who has a different ability, whether wheelchair based, whether crutches, whether an arm amputee and so on, there might be something within this that actually makes you think, do you know what, I can do other things. And that's what I want you to get out of this. Whether you're able-bodied or not, I want you to get some inspiration out of this, and I certainly did. So without further ado, I give you Chris Rattenbury.
Okay. So if you just start with a bit about your background, I can tell the viewers who you are, and we'll take from there.
Cool. I'm Chris Rattenbury. So I am 40 years old, unfortunately. You know.
You don't have to state how old you are.
You know. You know.
It's not policing.
I was born with Spina Bifida and hydrocephalus. And like my parents were told that I was going to die at 5 years old, you know, and then I swear on my 6th birthday, my dad did look at me as if to say, what do we do with him now?
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, oh.
So like mentally they're prepared for
there were.
And
6th birthday, I'm like, hi.
Still here, suckers.
You know, so... You know, my dad always wanted me to do sport because he was very much determined that I wasn't going to sit around doing nothing. You know, I wasn't going to watch cartoons all day and do nothing. I was going to go to school, etc. And I did. I went to, before I lived in Milton Keynes, I lived in Leighton Buzzard. And I went to this really good school where I would learn the same that they would be learning in mainstream school.
Yeah.
So I had quite a good education, and then we moved to Milton Keynes, where the system is perhaps different. And I was put
different good, different bad.
For me, different bad.
Okay.
You know, I went to a special school in Milton Keynes. And the hardest thing I had to do was 2 + 2. You know, when you've gone from doing, you know, what was previously quite difficult compared to 2 + 2, you know, I got quite bored by like the first year, because it's like I'm not being challenged, you know, and I've become quite disruptive in class. On top of that, although at my previous school I had the same sort of thing with physio, I still had to go to physio at this school, and I had to walk with calipers. And I hated walking because I was very much, you know, I was born to be in a wheelchair, so let me just be in the wheelchair.
So for the purpose of the viewers, and I know there might be certain things that we take for granted, but are you able to briefly explain what spina bifida is for those who don't know?
So spina bifida is basically the nerves in the spine are damaged. So the brain obviously sends signals for the body to do the various things. The brain will still send signals for my legs to move, but it just won't get there. And hydrocephalus is water on the brain. Okay. So I had a shunt put in when I was, I think 8 months old, to drain water off the brain. It has obviously its challenges, etc. But come on to the various hospital stuff and all that. And so when I was at this school, I was quite disruptive, and the head teacher, he dragged me in and he's like, Chris, this school report from your previous school says, you're a hard worker, etc. And here you're refusing to go to physio, because I hated it. They gave me a walking frame that I just hated. It broke every 5 minutes. Some of that was myself. Hopefully my dad's not gonna listen to this bit, but I almost became like a stunt man, because he would always take me walking around Texas DIY store back in the day, and I learned how these things came apart. So he would walk on further, I would walk through the tool section, and I would literally take out the screws of this brace, knowing that it had to be sent back to America to be fixed. And I would literally hit the deck. And he'd go, oh, it's broken again. Oh, that's such a shame. Oh, give me my wheelchair back. Etc. And I probably did walking up until secondary school. So once I'd had the discussion with the head teacher, who went, look, what on earth's going on, I was moved to mainstream school. But I was then playing catch up. And I also, because I had, obviously my neighbours were able-bodied, etc., but I hadn't been around a lot of able-bodied kids, if you know what I mean. So I kind of, quite wrongly, I had this complex at school of, I'm in a wheelchair, I'm untouchable. And I'm not going to say I was bullied, because I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong to say that I was bullied, because I can see why people were frustrated, because they tried to integrate me with things that they did, etc. I was a cocky so-and-so, and I probably still am to a certain extent. And I rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way. So middle school was very difficult. And I was, I was very much, I'm in a wheelchair, and that's it. And I remember getting punched once, and I remember getting dragged into the head teacher's office, because my parents had gone, our son's been punched, etc. And he went, and the head teacher, and this did change me, to be honest, a little bit. He was like, while he shouldn't have punched you, you shouldn't have been so cocky, and sort yourself out, sort out your complex, and after that things were a lot better. Then I went on to secondary school, and just before I left middle school, I started playing wheelchair basketball at this local club in Bedford. And I would say there, for me, looking back now, I was bullied there because I was called all the names under the sun, except by other disabled people, by able-bodied people. And I'm thinking, I mean, I must have been about 10 years old. And don't get me wrong, I'm not the best basketball player in the world.
Yeah.
I never have been, never will be, etc. But my dad was very, like I said, very keen I did sport. And when I went up to secondary school, I was scared because I was like, I'm gonna get bullied. And I wasn't. People there were so encouraging. They sorted out my complex, if you like, my disability complex. I was seen as Chris. I was treated as Chris, not, which made me realise I am Chris.
Yeah.
I'm not Chris in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And I remember we went, in year 8, we went on a residential. And it was a fully inclusive residential. I got to do things like abseiling, etc. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And my classmates were superb. I remember we were at the top of this massive slide, and I was like, yeah, I want to do this. When I got to the top of it, I was like, what am I doing? No, I want to go down. I think it was my friend Jo. She was fantastic, and she was like, no, you're up here now. Off you go. And then I had this bobsleigh ride, and she went on that with me, and we went down it, and she was like, no, Chris, you're going too slow. And so she just pushed his hand and we're like, doing that. I think I came off with another disability, but it was because I was scared. But so they certainly changed me as a person. They also were very supportive in that I wanted to go to PE. They were supportive that I didn't want to do the walking. They understood why I didn't want to do the walking. And they kind of understood why I didn't want to do the sport, because I just wasn't a sporty person. But they encouraged me to do it, and there was a teacher there, Mrs. Whelan, and she encouraged me because I wasn't enjoying the basketball, because who enjoys getting the mickey taken out of them?
Yeah.
No one enjoys that. Granted, I learnt so much as a player from those players, and I guess they helped me become immune to mickey taking.
Yeah, so you developed a bit of a thicker skin.
Yeah. But I do think perhaps 10, 11 years old, it's perhaps not the lesson that you want. You still want people to play nicely. So this teacher, she was like, have you thought about wheelchair racing? And all that, and I was like, it's one, it's exercise.
Yeah.
And two, it's an outdoor exercise.
Yeah.
Why would I want to do this? I'd done the odd little race in my day chair and all that, but the thing I'd only seen in wheelchair racing, because obviously Paralympics and stuff isn't as exposed as it is now, and it's it's fantastic that it's exposed now. And I was like, why do I want to do that? And she's like, no, just have a go. So she got me in contact with the help of my dad, a local wheelchair racer named Rose, and I had this 4-wheeler racing chair, which was like 1980s.
Yeah.
You know.
1980s special.
Yeah, you know. So my dad on my 14th birthday, he I'd been to Stoke Mandeville for like basketball camps, etc. And like he told me I was going somewhere else, but you know, because I think otherwise he wouldn't have got me in the car. Yeah. And he says, Chris, we're going to Stoke Mandeville and you can do wheelchair racing. And I was like, I don't really want to. He's like, well, just come and have a look. And I was like, you know what you do, and you want to get your parents off your back. You go, yeah, all right, I'll do it.
Whatever.
You know, it's my 14th birthday. I'd rather go to Toys R Us and, you know, buy a games console. And he's like, no, you're not having a games console, okay? So we go to St Mandeville. Rose is there, and there's great athletes like Dame Tanny Gray-Thompson, Chris Hallam, and a very young David Weir. So I was like, so what are we doing? We're just doing 100 metres or something? No, we're doing 8 laps off the track. What? And all that. So I'm mortified by this already. And my first race was against David Weir. Brilliant, you know. May as well just aim straight. You know. And there they all are in their 3-wheeler racing chairs. I've got 4 wheels. I could see that this wasn't going to go the way I'd hoped. So we did 8 laps of Stoke Mandeville. I swear David passed me like 8 times before I'd finished a first lap, you know. And I got very upset because everyone else was so much better than me. And again, it is going to upset people when you're getting absolutely annihilated. You know, I swear a snail passed me at one point on the track as well. You know, and there was this other athlete, Nicola, and we found out we're very, very extremely distantly related, and all that. And bless her, she came round with the last 3 laps in her day chair with me because I was, you know, and I'll never forget that, you know. But people didn't laugh at me. They were so encouraging. And I went back to school the next Monday, and like I was so obviously mortified that I'd been through this experience. On the way home, my dad was like, he was very upset. We went to Toys R Us and I could have literally any games console I wanted, you know, because perhaps he was, you know, going to get in trouble off my mum, because a little boy is, you know, not a happy bunny on his birthday, you know. And so I went back to school on the Monday, and Mrs. Wheeler, how did it go? And I was like, well, you know, people were so supportive and all that, but I generally didn't enjoy it because, you know, I got passed several times, and they all had 3-wheeler wheelchairs, and I had, you know, 4 wheels. She's like, right, we'll raise the money to buy you a racing chair. And bless her, she ran a marathon to raise money.
Wow.
And I'll never ever forget that, you know. She helped to buy my first racing chair. And then I had a chat with Tanny. And Tanny, I have the utmost respect for. She is one of the loveliest, most kindest person ever, for me personally anyway. She was very realistic in that, Chris, you're not going to set the world alight with wheelchair racing, you know. And I always want people to be honest with me, because that's it. She said, but however, I'll give you a purpose for doing this, and it was to keep fit. She said, I'll write your training programs and all, and she did. She helped me so much. Nice. And you know, she was fantastic. So while I was doing the wheelchair racing, I won my first wheelchair race, my first 2 miler. That's because there was 2 of us in it, and the other guy, because he was so much better than me. No, he literally got bored of doing the 2 miles, so he literally found his way onto the 13-mile course.
Brilliant.
And did the 13-mile course. So I won it. I got a free cruise out of it.
Wow, there you go.
Not gonna complain.
Win.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was doing the basketball at the time. And I was much more comfortable with the basketball team. And they said, Chris, we're going to send you to a 3rd division team in Northampton. And I went to this team in Northampton. And again, I am not the greatest player in the world by any stretch of the imagination. And these players, because I played with like fringe 1st division players, I was a little bit better than some of these other players at this team, and I had a lot of frustration because they couldn't do the things that, you know, the only thing I couldn't do properly was get the ball in the net, you know, but I could pass it, I had the speed. Despite being a fatty, I had the speed, etc. And it was a very frustrating time, but I had a fantastic coach who didn't tell me off. He was very much, do what you need to do. If it's detrimental to the team, I'll tell you. And he was fantastic. Brian, his name was, and he was superb. And I used to get so frustrated with the teams to a point where there was one game I refused to pass to the rest of my team for the whole second half. Very unprofessional, and I apologised the next week at training, but I was just so frustrated because we were like 50-0 down.
Right.
And, you know, there was these just 2 players that just kept on passing between themselves, and I was just like, come on, do something.
Yeah.
You know, do something with the ball. It's a bit like, you know, you watch a football match and they get down the other end, they're on to score, but then they just dance around, you know, and do nothing with it, nothing comes of it.
As an Arsenal fan, I know that every week. And yourself as a Liverpool
fan,
you know what it's like when you don't dance with it and just put it in the back of the net.
Absolutely. Although there have been times where I think, you know, perhaps we're not going to put it in the net that day, but then Mo Salah or Mane comes up.
There you go.
And we rock it. But also, the second job I was at this club, there was another player with the same disability as me. He was a lot older than me, and he had hydrocephalus. And he died. He had his shunt taken out.
Wow.
And he died a couple of weeks later. And that had a profound effect on me. That made me grow up a bit more to a certain extent.
Was it like a reality show?
Yeah. I became more respectful to my teammates. I tried harder with my wheelchair racing. And I started to see why I was doing sport. I think at that point I got it. So I did both sports together because the joy of not being good at either one of them, I could still do both of them. And so literally every weekend I would be doing something. I hated training for wheelchair racing. She had like a running machine for wheelchairs, and it's just the most awful thing in the world.
What's awful about it?
It's just boring. It's boring, and
So it's like a standard treadmill then.
so it's just like,
Treadmills are boring.
yeah, pretty much. But it's just like a roller on the back wheels, and just the back wheels go round.
Oh, okay.
And all that. And also I think there's this element of fear as well, that if the catch comes off while you're doing a sprint, you are going straight in your living room.
Well, it sounds like a turbo trainer for a cycle.
Yeah.
Wheel on the trainer, and you can.
Yeah. That's it. Absolutely.
If it comes off, you're going to go. Flying.
Yeah. So I always insisted I do like slow stuff. And it was just an awful thing to get into.
So how did powerlifting actually come about then? Because you're doing completely different sports.
Absolutely. So in 1995, I became very ill. I'd done a racing chair. So a race, and I had just a cold, and I thought nothing of it. Next day, I'm known for wearing shorts in the snow.
Yeah.
And I'd woken up and I was a little bit cold. It was a winter day, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I still had my shorts on. Went to sixth form, did my mastering exam, and I felt awful. And I came home, and I was hugging my dad's radiator,
right.
and my parents' radiator, and they're like, "What on earth is going on?" So they took me to the doctors, who gave me some antibiotics, which put me on another planet for a good 2 weeks.
Right.
But the best thing about that was, in that 2 weeks, I think I beat David Weir. Genuinely think I did, because there was a Grand Prix series. David, being the superb star that he is, it could pick and choose what races he did.
Right.
My dad, being my dad, entered me for every single race.
Of course.
So, of course, I finished that a little bit higher in the Grand Prix. So, I spent 6 months in hospital with an illness called Proteus septicemia. And I nearly did lose my life. When they discharged me from Milton Keynes, and I went to see my surgeon in London, and he looked at this discharge report. He went a funnier colour than I did, and then he was like, "If I have to put you on the mental ward, then you are literally staying in this hospital."
Yeah.
So I spent 6 months in there. Only tried to escape once, unsuccessfully, but I tried. And my dad had got me a trip with some other wheelchair racing people. They'd found this group that were going to take us to Atlanta to watch the Paralympics, which I went to watch David Weir in the 100-metre final, and there was like about 10 of us in the stadium.
Yeah.
But 6 of them were on the track. And I was kind of like, why would anyone want to compete at this? Why? I don't understand. And while we were there, much to the surprise of the other athletes, I decided I was going to go to the gym.
Right, okay.
And all that. And I was doing some bench pressing.
Okay.
On this machine, and on TV it happened to be the Paralympic powerlifting, and there was this guy from Great Britain called Nick, and he was lifting 220, And I looked and I was with my mate, and I was lifting 220. And just this light bulb moment came up. And I thought, oh, fantastic. I'm going to be the best. My dad is going to be so proud. I now want to do sport. I found a sport I'm going to be good at. Right? And also, Nick, like myself, was a big lad. I thought, yeah, I can eat what I want as well. This is ticking all the boxes. So I go home and I tell my dad, and he like laughed at me. And going back to the education thing, obviously I struggled, especially with maths. And my dad was like, you are an idiot, absolute idiot. I'm like, why? He said, you do realise in the gym in America they use pounds, and in the competition they use kilos. So I had no idea what this meant. He sat down with books, pie charts, everything explaining it, and I'm like, I still don't get it. So he took me down to a gym down by Leon School.
Okay.
And it was run by a powerlifter called Ted Brown, who still lifts now. I think he's 95 years old. You know, he's incredible. I think he's had a quadruple bypass as well. You know, so my dad took me down there, and you know, it was then a whole. We go about the Mickey taking from the basketball. This was a whole new level, and I was like, I have to suck this up. I just have to literally, you know, because they're going to eat me alive.
Gym banter's something different.
Yes, you know, if I sit there and cry my eyes out,
that's it.
You know,
you go.
I may as well go home. You know, so they put on 220 pounds, which was 100 kilos. And obviously I lifted that quite easily. And then I asked him to put on 220 kilos without my dad's knowledge, and it didn't end too well.
No.
You know, as expected. Luckily I didn't break anything, didn't break any ribs or anything. I felt sore. So I'd been going to the junior games at Stoke Mandeville pretty much since I was, I think, 12 years old. And I'd always just done basketball, wheelchair racing. But then when I went this time, the Powerlifting Association with it, or British Weightlifting Association for Disabled, and I was like, I'm going to go talk to them. I'm going to go have a go. And I went and had a go, and, you know, they were, you know, quite impressed. I lost my first competition because it was done on a formula. The guy was lighter than me, and so, you know, he beat me. But I was like, you know, I want to do this sport. My dad wasn't convinced because he enjoyed me doing the wheelchair racing, the basketball, because he was very into cars. And, you know, I remember as a kid he built a kit car. You know, I remember cutting in half the Ford Cortina that we had and then making a kit car out of it, and, you know, it was amazing. You know, so he obviously had that keen interest. And this lady, Sandy, who was the wife of the chairman of the she sat down with my dad for 2 hours to convince him that you know, I was going to go somewhere with this sport. So, you know, I have a lot to thank her and her husband, and with all people within the association, the support that they gave me. So he agreed, and he said, but this is all on you. This is your choice, and this is up to you. I will support you but I physically can't do anything for you. Like, he couldn't, because he wasn't repairing punctures or anything like that. You know, he could spot me, and you know, I think he did up until about 160 kilos when he's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. You know, so I went to my first training weekend at Stoke Mandeville, and I met this coach called John, who coached me for a very long time. Immense respect for him. I think like any athlete and coach, we had disagreements, etc. But I remember first meeting, it was like, hi, nice to meet you, Chris. I've heard all about you. You need to go on a diet. And I was like, nice to meet you, John. I've heard nothing about you. And that certainly wasn't in the brochure, you know. So I thought as well, rightly or wrongly, he gave me this diet. So I ate the diet, plus what I was eating, and all that. Turn up for the next room. Chris, how have you put on 7 kilos? Well, I ate the food that you told me to. What else did you eat? Well, I ate the food that I normally eat as well. No, you've got to just eat this stuff. And I was like, but I don't want to do that. I don't like that. That's too healthy, and I don't want to do that. And that went on for quite a while. So then in my second year of lifting, you know, I didn't. The first year I didn't set the world alight, but I was new to it. The second year I got selected to represent Great Britain at the World Wheelchair Games at Stoke Mandeville, and my parents were coming to watch, and they were so proud, you know, and because, you know, I'd gone from being this athlete, this person who didn't want to do sport, to wanting to now do sport. And the week leading up to the event, I'd been so relaxed, you know. John had said, Chris, we're going training now, and I'm like, no, I'm going for a sleep. And fair play, he let me have 20 minutes sleep before he came along and pushed the bed out of the dorm into the car park. You know, you know, that was, you know, because that's how it was back then, you know. Very old school. You know, you couldn't get away with anything like that now. And there was this, I think, this begrudging respect from him that I was quite, if I didn't want to do it, I wasn't going to do it, and all that. And also I remember we were at dinner once, and there was some athletes. One liked to just have a smoke and a drink. This one, other, I like to have a lot of drink and smoke. And there was me. I just liked my food. Hadn't really been introduced to alcohol at that point. And so we had fish and chips. Now John took the batter off the fish, because that's what John does, and that's fine. And there's all these others that took the fish out the batter as well, and I was the only one that didn't. And I think he respected that I wouldn't change just because he was sat there. So I'd been fully relaxed up until competition day, and my parents come to see me, and they're like, no, good luck. Ted was there, and I remember going into the loo and crying my eyes out because I heard, you know, one, knowing how people were proud of me, but also this a lot of pressure. If I get this wrong, I'm gonna look an idiot. And I went out and I competed. I was in tears going onto the bench, you know. worked myself up to the frenzy, and John looked at me as if to say, hang on, you've been cool as a cucumber all week, what is going off? We're going to scrape off the ceiling in a minute. And I nearly messed it up. Thankfully I didn't, and I won. And that was so nice to win my first international competition. And I knew then I was kind of in for a rocky road mentally for some reason. I whenever I went to competition, I would get so pent up. I would be in tears and all that, and I think it was that fear of failure, because this was my choice. The reason I wanted to do the lifting was I always wanted to travel around. Although I hate flying, I wanted to travel. And I had to be good at the lifting to travel. So, my dad and they got what they wanted. I was doing sport, I was keeping active, and I got to travel. And I always vowed that I would, do one Paralympics, but that was it. So I kind of plodded along, improving over the next couple of years. And then I got selected for the World Wheelchair Games again in 1999 in where was it? New Zealand.
Nice.
Which was amazing. For someone that doesn't like flying, sitting on that plane all that time is not the greatest thing. It's really weird. Once I'm on the plane, I'm actually fine. It's the whole before getting on the plane. So we went to New Zealand, and this is where I knew John had my back. Like when it come to a public sort of thing, again, like I said, for the many disagreements, I have nothing but respect for him. We have many very different views on my lifting, but so my third lift, I failed it, and I said under my breath, oh, for F's sake. There's microphones all around the thing. And the chief referee said to John, tell your athlete to watch his language. And John, with the straightest face, went, I didn't hear a thing. But as soon as we got back round, do not ever swear again, blah, 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 and all that. Yes, John, Then after that, I went to the European Championships, and I was so proud to be selected for that, because the World Wheelchair Games was more of a development sort of thing, whereas the European Championships, it was the main thing, main squad. And at first I wasn't selected, and I understood why. The coach rang me up to explain why, and I fully understood. He just didn't think it was right for me at that time. But then it changed, and it was it was decided that I was going to be taken. And again, I was chilled up until competition day. But they also wanted me to go into a different weight category. Right. They wanted me to go up a weight category. And John wasn't part of the GB coaching setup at the time. So I'd gone from John saying, Chris, you must not eat this, you must not eat that, to you eat whatever you want on this menu. We need you to be at least a kilo over. So I am stuffing my face. And then the night before a competition, nerve set, and I got a dodgy stomach. I was under the thing. So they got me drinking all this water and all that to be overweight. I'm thinking, I don't know if I actually want to do this because I just want to lift weights, not this whole, mucking about with weight categories, etc. But I did it, and I was the only lifter to get 3 lifts in of the whole squad. I got 2 lifts in. 2. The rest only got 1 lift in, and
do you remember what you lifted?
I lifted 165 kilos. I did, which when I started 3 years earlier, you think my PB was 110. To go from that to that in that short amount of time was I think pretty good. Then when we come back from Hungary at the Europeans, I unfortunately broke my leg. Right. I tried to get in my wheelchair and I missed. And it was the day before my 21st birthday, and I spent my 21st birthday having surgery. Brilliant. On my broken leg. And the weird thing was I couldn't feel it. Yeah. I heard it, but I didn't feel it. Yeah. So I had a long break out of lifting, and I was gutted because I'd worked hard, and I think I had a shot at going to the Sydney Paralympics as a potential for the future. And obviously that didn't happen. Then I recovered and we got taken to America for a competition. And now I'd been very lucky. So when you fail all 3 lifts, they call it bombing. Yeah. Never bombed in my life. Go to Las Vegas. And it's the IPF, I think, it's their world. But they invited us along to take part as well. And you had the bench here, you had squatting here, and you had deadlifting there, all going on at the same time. Right. So as you can imagine, a rowdy crowd, etc. Warm-up hadn't gone brilliantly. I kind of thought, this is a bit strange, this is a little bit heavy, and John had said to me before, Chris, if you lift 170 today, which will be a new PB, new British record, you can have whatever you want on the all-you-can-eat buffet. You can go mad. Okay? Yeah. You've worked hard. Yeah. You've lost 6 kilos. I'm incredibly proud of you. So I was like, okay, no worries. And go out there, found my first lift. Literally glued to my chest. 160. Now, bear in mind, this 160 I could do for 2 or 3 reps, and it's glued to my chest. Go out for the second, glued to my chest. Go out for the third. The deadlifting stopped. The squatting stopped. The crowd went silent because I'm in bits. And I just said to the crowd, it's a bit bloody late now. This is not moving. But I still had to go. pride in me said I still had to go and give it a go.
Yeah.
And glued to my chest. So I was distraught, and I went and polished off this all-you-can-eat buffet in the evening. Had a few drinks, and one of the athletes went up to John and said, "Oh, I thought you said he could only have the blah, blah, blah." And John, again, because he had my back, went, "Are you gonna go and argue with him? Are you gonna go and tell him he can't have it? Because good luck," And then after that, I went to Australia the next year for competition. I went to Australia the year before, and I showed a bit of petulance there. And it's not something I'm proud of, and I got put in my place by the Australian coach because I'd had it. When you compete, you have this, you set in your mind what you want to do. You always go in with a plan, and I had it set I was going to do 150, and this was in 1999. Australia. So I went to Australia, New Zealand, and Hungary all in the year. I had it set I was going to do 150. And that was it. That was superb. So my dad went with us and two other athletes. We get there, 24-hour flight. Not happy money. Don't like flying. Get there. And I'm telling him, I'm going to do 150. I'm going to do 150. Have it sorted. Dad says, "No, John says you're only doing 145. What? I literally went mad. All these Australian athletes are looking at me going, what? I'm literally going off at my dad. Because if they had told me before I got on that plane, I would have still gone. But I would have then had a different mindset, and I went out for my first lift at 140. I'm not going to lie, I lifted it, but it wasn't within the rules. I kind of petulantly didn't care. And again with my second lift, and the Australian coach pulled me aside and he's like, because he'd been an athlete himself, he's like, "I get it, but we've heard good things about you. Do not screw this up just because you've not got your own way." And he did. And I kind of needed that. And so I did. I lifted the 145 and all that. And again, it's not something I'm proud of that I acted that way. But I was young, and you want to improve all the time because you're chasing goals. And funnily enough, we went in the gym the next couple of days and said, "Right, I want to try 150. I was nowhere near it. So you have to go, all right, fair enough. You got that right. But I make great friends out of it. So 2001 was quite a quiet year. We had the European Championships again, and it wasn't the best. I did well. I think I did 167.5. I'd broken the British. I'd done 170 in 2000 at the British Championships. and broken the British record, and I was so proud of that. And then it seemed to go a little bit downhill from there.
What's your feelings?
Perhaps my ego got the better of me a little bit. I thought, that's it, it's plain sailing from here. I don't know why 170 was a magic number for me, but it was. And I just thought it was going to be plain sailing. And, it obviously wasn't. So I did 167 at the Europeans the next year, and then we had a training weekend in the March of 2002, and like, Chris, you're being selected for the World Championships, and I was like so made up, going to Malaysia, that's gonna be amazing, thank you for all their faith in me, etc. So we went out for a team meal, and John was like, Chris, you can have whatever you want, absolutely, go for it. So I had steak, I had chips, and all that, and then they had one of these, these dare to share desserts. And he said, Chris, you can have one, I'll have one as well. And like, the performance director sat next to John, looking at him going, what are you doing? And all that. All the athletes are like, has he lost leave of his senses, And but it proved to be a stroke of genius. He'd always tried to get me to lose weight, etc. So I'd eaten all this food. The next day I felt awful. I couldn't eat breakfast. I just didn't. So we're in this team meeting. I'm trying to drink water, but I feel sick because I've eaten so much food. The amount of chocolate in this thing. It's like, Chris, I want you to lose weight before the World Championships. I want you to go down another weight category. And without hesitation, I went, absolutely, I could not agree more. When do I start? So I had like 11 kilos to lose.
Wow.
In 4 months.
Right.
Not the easiest of targets.
Did you do it?
Yes, I did it. And this is where I met you as well. So I started training at, what was the Sporter then?
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed like training with yourself because you personally made me realise about different aspects of my training. I think you were the first person to get me to do abs because you were like, right, well, you've lost all this weight. If you don't do abs, you're going to fall off the bench. And I'm so grateful for that. And I learned so much of you from a technical aspect. You and Chanel, but I always knew as well when I trained with you guys, it was never let's stop and have a chat. It was very much, I'm going to drag you around this gym, kicking and screaming, Training is training. You will not enjoy this.
If you want a social, that's after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Went to World Championships, and the day before, I could do, so about a few days did my last train. I could do 165. Perfect. Nothing has gone on. Then on competition day, I wasn't particularly nervous. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't particularly nervous. And I think the weight loss thing humbled me massively because you have to be proper dedicated to lose that. And I learnt that I had to lose this weight, and it certainly humbled me. And I only did 1571 on competition day, and I was distraught, absolutely just distraught. And then I lost another 8 kilos after the competition, through stress or whatever. The only good thing about that is I could literally eat what I want, and I wasn't putting any weight on. And for a good 2 years, I still trained, I still lifted.
Yeah.
But I didn't care about going to the Paralympics. I just wasn't bothered. I was more concerned with how am I going to get back to where I was. You know, I was genuinely devastated. Went to Europeans in 2004. And I lifted double body weight. It was never a lift. I know that full well, but it was given.
Right.
You know, it didn't even touch my chest. It was given. So I don't really count that as a lift, etc. But again, I still wasn't in the right place. But I could then start to see light at the end of the tunnel. And I worked my socks off. And so before I lost the weight as well, to deal with pressure, etc., I drank a lot. And, you know, because it was my coping mechanism.
When you say you drank a lot?
Yeah.
What were you drinking?
Jack Daniels.
Okay.
Yeah, Jack Daniels.
Just to be clear, I'm talking alcohol, not you drinking tons of water.
No. I was drinking lots of that.
So your coping mechanism was to start drinking.
Yeah. Start drinking. And when things started to spiral after the World Championship, I was determined not to go back to that spiraling out of control again, because I think I was in a better place mentally in terms of coping, or learning to cope in a different way.
Had none of your coaches or the team ever kind of gone through coping mechanisms, sports psychology, anything like that?
No, not really, because I guess it wasn't as highlighted as it is now.
Yeah.
You know, from 2004 onwards, we had a team psychologist, you know, and I think when he used to see my name on the list, I think he used to cack himself, you know, but he was brilliant. He was, you know, he would talk to me, you know, what do you do now to deal with these problems, these mechanisms. The way I just dealt with it was the way I should have perhaps dealt with it. I think that the coping mechanism wasn't so much I was failing, it was because there was so much pressure on me and that I couldn't deal with that pressure. And so alcohol was a thing, whereas this was a different. Alcohol was not going to solve me not being able to lift. You know.
Where do you think the pressure came from?
Myself. Because again, the lifting was my choice. I didn't want to let anyone down. I didn't want to let myself down, and it took me a long time to realise that the only person I'm ever letting down is myself. It took me a long time to realise that.
Because I mean, you put a lot of expectation on the sport. I mean, you said yes, you're doing it for yourself, but it was also a way to do other things.
Yes.
So I guess in some ways that kind of fear of failure, the failure actually meant more than just not lifting, it meant not being who you wanted to be.
Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't get to travel, etc. And there was times I had to raise the money to travel, which was, not a problem, as long as I was given the opportunity. So after the European Championship, I could see a way forward, but I could see that it was going to be a long way ahead. But I just had to knuckle down, and train, and I did. I left college to just focus on training, because I was doing sports science. I didn't understand sports science. I still don't understand sports science, which the coaches took great delight in taking the mickey that as an athlete you should know this. The only bit I did know was nutrition and psychology. So I worked my butt off, and then I got back to where I was. And then in 2006, I went to a competition in Poland, and I did double body weight at 82.5 kilos, which was 165. And I was incredibly proud of that, because I'd done double body weight properly. Secondly, I'd done double body weight. And thirdly, I wasn't far off from where, and Beijing was 2 years away. And for the first time, I genuinely believed I was going to qualify for Paralympics. Genuinely believed it. Then when we got back, I had a routine hospital appointment, day surgery. Just thought it was just put me to sleep, put a camera in, have a look, and all that. And they cut me in a delicate place, shall we say, and all that. This delicate place opened up, unfortunately, and then I spent the best part of 2008, or the first part of 2008, in hospital, having this fixed. I was in there three odd months on and off. So like they let me home on the odd occasion, etc. But they the heartbreaking thing was I was in Stoke Mandeville Hospital, and across the road was the qualifier for Beijing, and I sat there crying because I knew that was my opportunity. I couldn't even, the doctor said I could go and watch if I wanted to, but I couldn't bring myself to go and watch. As much as I wanted to see my friends, I couldn't bring myself to do it. And they all came to see me, and they were all superb. They didn't talk about the competition, unless I brought it up. They didn't talk about the competition. And there was this one coach, Ian, he comes along and he bought me all these Easter eggs because it was Easter time. And I was like, oh, good lad, he's bought me all this chocolate. And then says, oh, by the way, John's coming up to visit you. Well, I had to suddenly give these Easter eggs out and on that, get rid of them quickly. Funnily enough, John didn't turn up. So I did that, and got out of hospital. Then I was I just trained hard and hard, but the competition in Poland, I suddenly had a headache, and it'd gone for ages, and they tried to sort it out in hospital while I was in there as well. They couldn't work out why, and they gave me tramadol.
Right.
Which, I'm not gonna lie, I developed an addiction to, because unfortunately I do have an addictive personality, etc. And they found out, so they sent me to a neurosurgeon, and they found out I disconnected the shunt.
Right, okay.
Okay, so they said we're going to take it out at the end of 2008, and I'm not going to lie, it was 2 days after my 30th birthday, and I cried my eyes out pretty much from the hospital to the station, on the train back, in the car back, because of what happened to basket player. I made a point of going to see all my friends, you know, to see, you know, I have the most amazingly supportive friends, and I literally made a point of going to see all of them. I didn't really enjoy we went out for my 30th, I didn't really enjoy it. So they took the tube out a couple of days after, and thankfully I'm still here 10 years later. So just focus back onto training. Then 2013 got selected for European Championships. I went to Delhi 2010, Commonwealth Games.
Okay.
Wasn't the greatest experience for me. I did retire briefly when I got back because I did terrible at the Commonwealth Games. My own fault. I was so embarrassed. People watching me on TV, on the internet, friends and all that. I was so.
Why do you think you did, in your words,
Yeah. I think the occasion got to me.
Okay.
I think there was, you know, this was my shot to qualify for London.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the whole village environment.
Okay.
Because it's a lot of sitting around doing nothing, and didn't like that, etc. Didn't enjoy it. But, you know, again, it's my own fault. So I retired briefly, and then this coach called Gideon, who was another he took over my coach and taught me back into it. And we went to a competition in Holland in 2011, and we stayed in this nice posh hotel. Anyway, they serve cake with every coffee. He's like, Chris, you seem to be drinking a lot of coffee. Oh yeah, do you want one? And all that. So I bought one. He went, do you get cake with every coffee? Yes. And all that. And he was great as a coach because he's very much, I don't care what you weighed.
Yeah.
As long as one, you're in the body weight that you say you're going to be in, and two, you lift and you follow my training. I did 2 of those things. I stayed in body weight. I lifted what I said I was going to lift. First, he gave me this training program, and it was 10 sets of 3 at 100 kilos with 30 seconds rest. And I was like, that's just ridiculously easy, you know. So I went, I'll change it up. I'll just do 3 sets of 10.
Right.
And all that with 1 minute 30 rest, you know. So we go to a training weekend. Chris, have you done it? Yeah, absolutely. Good, right, we'll do it today. Oh yeah, be great. Anyway, by the 4th set, I am in agony. You know. And he's like, you're a village idiot. Absolute idiot. Do it properly. And I followed his instructions after that, because there was this coach here who was going to call my bluff.
Yeah.
So he did, and he coached me up until 2013. For me, 2013 was the greatest achievement because I held the European record for 34 minutes. I know it's only 34 minutes, but it's for the first time I'd ever held an international record. And, you know, I got to be the flag bearer for the country, and it was so amazing. 2014, I was coached by someone called Tom, who was, in my opinion, the best coach I had. Because he did amazing things with me. Every coach I had all did amazing things with me in different various ways. But he did amazing things with me in terms of the lifting, because he improved me from 170 to near 180 before I retired.
Right.
In only 4 months of working with me. Unfortunately, I retired in 2014. I sneezed and put my back out, as you do. And I didn't cope well with the whole not doing lifting thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I'm an ambassador and volunteer for a charity called Willpower. And I've been there for 9 years now, and they are amazingly supportive, etc. They were really good. They helped transform life people through sport, and the reason I got into sport, or certainly helped get me into finding the right sport. And they were incredibly supportive when I retired, because I didn't deal with it well. And then other health things kicked off, and I spent the last 3 or 4 years in and out of hospital. And then last year, the whole mental health thing kicked off. I started playing basketball again after I retired, because I went to play for a team called Aces, which was a team I'd watched as a kid. And I am by far the worst player on the team. By far. They have such amazing players, such talented players, and you know, they all have exceptional skills, and I enjoy the basketball so much more now because I'm learning all the time. You know, and they're all just outstanding players, and you know, I feel embarrassed sometimes that I'm so bad, you know, but I do my best. So last year, it was 10 years since I'd had my brain op.
Yeah.
A realisation that I think finally proper sunk in, that I was never going to lift again.
Right.
And you know, my health, you know, I have to start looking after myself from an everyday healthy point of you know, which is a whole different aspect to lifting and being an athlete. And I had a bit of a breakdown in November, went out for my 40th birthday. I drank too much, shall we say. And I remember texting my best friend Shane the next day saying, mate, I need to go get help. And everyone's been so supportive because since then, and they realise, you know, they've just been helpful, point me in the right direction. And my GP was amazing. She was like, to be honest, the stuff you've been through, I'm surprised you've not been here sooner. You know.
So when you said you need help, was your GP kind of first port of call?
So I self-referred myself to counselling. I also, I rightly or wrongly, I wasn't going to tell my family.
Okay.
Because I wanted to deal with this myself. But then my best friend said to me, look, Chris, you need to go you need to tell your family, because if you don't, and your GP tells them, you're just going to get a load more grief, you know. So I did, and you know, my family were very supportive. You know, especially my sister. She was brilliant, I have to say, and all my friends were incredibly supportive, and I got the help that I needed. Went to group therapy, which was an enlightening thing, really was. It really. And I had surgery again in February to try and fix bladder problems, etc. And it went wrong. But because I'd had that group therapy stuff, I'd learnt how to like.
So you developed coping mechanisms?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, it's about writing things down. It's about, you know, thinking, do you know what? Yes, I'm going through this, but there are people that are far more difficult predicaments than I am, and you know, it's not about woe. It's about dealing with things. You know, but you know, I've had incredible support from my friends, my family, the guys and girls at Willpower, past and present. You know, I've had, like, you know, very good people help me, and the basketball teammates, credit, and Ali, you know, he's incredibly support despite his own health challenges, which, you know, he discussed. You know, he's supportive, and supportive in a random way of, you know, grow up, or, you know, send me a message going, I love you, and all that, you know, but, you know,
it's that kind of touching base with someone, just to say, I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and my friends, you know, they all have different ways of dealing with me. And such.
I would say there's still kind of you know, stigmas around, you know, mental illness.
Yes.
And it's become more common than anything else.
Yes, definitely.
I think that may kind of indicate how many people are still not talking about it.
No, and they should talk about it, because it's really weird although before I did my scan, when I started talking to people, I felt a cloud lifted.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so anyone that does have those, I urge you to talk, because it helps.
Yeah, just talk to someone. Anyone there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of stuff out. I mean, GPs. You know, they've normally they should have had kind of extra training to kind of, you know, signpost you to the right path. You know, there's always the Samaritans and so on, and I think it's almost like I can feel something soon that's going to happen. Like, you know how the Paralympics has kind of, because there may have been a certain stigma with maybe wheelchair users, for instance.
Yeah.
Obviously, someone who's not a wheelchair user, I'm maybe putting words into your mouth, but I can imagine that there were certain maybe assumptions that were, you know, maybe growing up that were made of you, maybe.
Yes, definitely.
Things that you can't do, and you're thinking, what are you talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's like, you know, say you come to a flight of stairs and people go, well, how are you going to get down them? I will get down those flight of stairs. I won't like it, because you go down backwards, and that's proper scary, but, you know.
Yeah.
And the beauty of the stuff that I do with Willpower, going into schools and hearing the questions of the children.
Well, they're
you know,
kind of brutally honest.
Yeah, they are.
They're without kind of malice and without kind of a hidden agenda. It's like, I'm going to ask you questions because I honestly don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that horrible adult way of doing it.
definitely. And I think programs like The Last Leg.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah,
they've helped.
Yeah.
Change that perception.
Of course.
And seeing Paralympic athletes on things like the jump. You know. Yeah. I'm waiting to see a Paralympian. Yeah. On I'm a Celebrity.
Yeah.
It's
like I'm very big in kind of like how people use words and so on. And for ages, people are saying, it's a disability, but it almost needs to be changed to not disability, because that still has a negative connotation with it, but maybe different ability.
Yes.
You've got different abilities.
Yeah.
I remember when you came into the gym once, all happy, in the chair, and you come flying in, and then your warm-up set was these 2 dumbbells, and they were 50-kilo dumbbells.
Yeah.
You're just busting them out, like 15 reps, like they're nothing.
Yeah.
And it was the first time, actually, as someone who's able-bodied, supposedly able-bodied, bit of a doofus. Yeah. But it was the first time that myself as someone who's able-bodied thought, he hasn't got a fucking disability.
No.
He's got more ability than me. And that was the first time I thought, shit, okay, this is awesome. Yeah. And then I remember, I think it was shortly after that, it was the first time I paid attention. Like, I watched Paralympics, but actually paid attention to what was happening in the Paralympics, and I thought, this is amazing. And then, programs like The Last Leg emphasise more of a humour comedy, but there's like a serious message there. Yeah. Or this is the sweet spot, this is perfect. Yeah. I think there seems to be a growing movement where I think something like that will happen with mental illness.
Yes.
Of sort. I don't know if there is actually, but I can imagine there might be something like that kind of just to kind of
break the stigma.
Yeah. Break the stigma, saying that this is okay. It's just different, and it's okay to feel how you feel.
Yeah. I think so, and I think there are a lot more prominent athletes coming out and talking about mental health. I mean, you look at Prince Harry and Prince William, they're talking about it, and I think prominent people, talking about it, people that look up to,
definitely.
It helps break that stigma. You go to schools now, and when they talk about heroes, they're mentioning Paralympians. Yeah. They're mentioning the likes of David Weir, Ali, etc. Yeah. So I think it's gone. I think London 2012 helped. Yeah. Massively.
Wholeheartedly.
That
was phenomenal.
It was. And to be honest, I'm not gonna lie. Before I started at Willpower, I kind of didn't get the Paralympics. I didn't understand everything behind it.
Yeah.
But now talking about it, a guy called Sir Ludwig Gutmann created it. He was asked by the government to help people that have been injured, and he's very much like, you're not going to lie in bed all day, you're going to do something. Yeah. And he created this whole movement, and I think he'd be so proud of what it's become today. And I think he's trying to break stigma back then. Yeah. And I think it's just finally coming out, and again, hopefully the same will help with mental health. Yeah. That it'll all sort it.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Thank you for sharing, in essence, your life story. Love it. Yeah. So what was the name of? Was it Wheel Power? Is it?
Yeah.
So if someone wanted to get involved with Wheel Power, what would they need to do?
So if they want to get into wheelchair sport, they can contact us at wheelpower.org.uk or through Facebook, social media, various things. And the same thing if you want to raise money for us.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to jump out of a plane.
No.
Marathon places.
Maybe.
Yeah. You sure you don't want to jump out of a plane?
I am dead certain.
I'll do it with you.
I can barely sit on a plane, let alone jump out of one.
I'll do it with you. No. Oh.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
I've never been one to be goaded. Well, actually, that's a lie. Once I was goaded and it didn't end well. But social pressure, I'm just like, no. I'm too stubborn for that. If you want to jump out of a plane, I'll come and watch.
Yeah. But yeah, they just various social medias. And we provide opportunities for adults and children with physical disabilities and mild learning impairments to play wheelchair sport. And we put on a variety of camps to play wheelchair sport. We've got our National Junior Games coming up at the end of the month.
Awesome.
A week-long event, which yourself, you're more than welcome to come along, have a look.
Nice.
And see the work that we do.
Yeah, love it.
You know?
Yeah, I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you for your time today.
No worries, thank you.
It. I'm sure there'll be a podcast in the future to take a deeper dive into the mental health as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, thank you for your time today.
No worries, thank you.
Thanks for listening to the One Zen Fitness Academy podcast. Make sure that you subscribe. Please give us a 5-star review. And please, if it's not too much trouble, write a review. For more information, go to www.onezenacademy.com for all your fitness, wellness, and health needs. Have a fantastic day. Thank you.